So this recipe, one of my favorites. So I'm definitely one of those people who likes grazing throughout the day, snacking. I'm more of that person who kind of eats throughout the day as opposed to big meals. Everybody is different. But if you are somebody who, again, part of caring for yourself while caring for others, is that snacking throughout the day. So this is a zucchini walnut muffin. Again, batch cooking, think about you could freeze it. So something that you could take on the go when you're bringing someone to an appointment or, where you're kind of rushing around throughout your day. And great also for the person you're caring for, because oftentimes low appetite is a factor, right? So somebody might not be feeling like they want to eat a big meal. So really making sure that there's snacks on hand and different variety. And of course, you can always get foods and snacks from the grocery store, whether they're prepackaged or baking something like, a handful of nuts with a fruit or yogurt and granola, right? These are things that are more assembly, but to have these types of snacks that are on hand are awesome. And the two ingredients that I want to specifically talk about today are that zucchini and walnuts. So we'll start walking through the recipe, but I'll share some additional nutrition insights about these specific ingredients as we go through.
Perfect. Okay, so yes, like Steph said, we're going to be making zucchini. You said muffin, which is fine. We're going to make a bread, but you can do this as a muffin.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but you can do this as a muffin. You can do this as a loaf. I actually was going to do it as a loaf, and I had to pivot because I didn't have a loaf pan. So that's the beautiful thing about it is this makes a really nice batter where you can portion it off into any cooking device, and it could be a muffin, could be a loaf, whatever you want. But I think, two of the stars here are definitely going to be our zucchini and our carrot. I know this is the time of year where if you are growing your own veg and you're growing zucchini, you might end up with a lot of it. I know that I am usually the recipient of, extra zucchini from the family, and I usually have more and I know what to do with. This is a great recipe to kind of use some of that up. So what we're going to do is we just grated some zucchini, again, box grater, about a couple cups. Leave the water in. We're not draining out any of the water. We actually want that moisture from the zucchini. And I want a grated carrot as well. This is, it's going to provide, it's like veg, obviously. We're adding veg to our snack, which is kind of awesome, but it's going to add some sweetness as well. The zucchini does have a little bit of sweetness, and the carrot definitely has some sweetness to it. So this can help us cut down on any extra added sugar that we are going to add because the carrot's providing really, really nice punch of flavor. And so what I'm doing is just grating it. This is like a larger microplane, but you can use just like a cheese grater for this. And I want about a cup of the grated carrots here.
So the zucchini was already pre-grated, or you grated it?
So I grated the zucchini ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah. So zucchini you can grate ahead of time. You can put it in the fridge. I find that with carrots, they will start to discolor a little bit. They'll start to oxidize if you grate it too far in advance. So that's one that I'm just kind of doing fresh right now.
Awesome. So zucchini, like many vegetables and fruit, are very high in that water content and fiber. And again, helps to reduce your hunger levels and helps you keep full for longer. That can potentially lead to weight loss over time if that's something that you're seeking, or the person you're caring for as well. So these are two great options. The zucchini has that vitamin C, potassium, and magnesium, which are all part of supporting healthy immune system. So definitely, it's not new to other vegetables, but I do like to repeat that, just getting a variety. Earlier, we had used some tomatoes, so those are red. You used some beets, which are purple, and now we're bringing in those greens and oranges. So each color is really a clue to the different, antioxidants and phytonutrients that you are using on a day-to-day. And there's just, so much packed in here, and there's not that much of a hassle. right? Zucchini, often we see it more as something that's maybe on the savory side, and a bread or a loaf potentially is on a sweeter side, but they definitely can be used for both. So again, making kind of just different vegetables, using them in your snacks is an awesome way to go. And like I said, making things that are easy for you, that more of a grab and go to have on hand is great.
Awesome. So the next part of this treat, the snack here, we're just preparing some walnuts. Walnuts going to add a really, really nice crunch to them. And these are whole, or they're halved walnuts. And I'm just kind of gently breaking them up with my hand. I kind of want a little bit of a bigger crunch to it. And I know Steph has some great nutrition facts about walnuts, but you can, just to mention, you can definitely use, if you have almonds, use almonds. If you have pumpkin seeds, use what you have in the pantry.
Yeah, definitely. And what I mentioned earlier is like this could be a snack on its own, like having a handful of walnuts. This is just a different way of incorporating them into your day-to-day. Now, what walnuts are specifically great for compared to other nuts is the omega-3 fatty acids. Okay, so our body does not make omega-3. This is an anti-inflammatory property that you need to get through food. So it could be walnuts, it could be fish. So there's specific fish like salmon and trout and cod that are high in those omega-3 fatty acids. You could also find it in chia seeds and ground flax seeds. So you have some options as to where you can get your omega-3 fats from, but walnuts is certainly a great option. And these omega-3, like I said, they're anti-inflammatory. So cancer itself is an inflammatory disease. And so, in line with good sleep hygiene, exercising regularly, keeping your stress levels at bay, eating foods can also be one of those tips and tricks to reduce the inflammation in the body. So it's one of those things that I always say, like, try to sneak it in wherever you can. Again, you don't want heaps and heaps of walnuts that you're eating only. They do contain healthy fats, which is great. They also have protein and fiber. So all those things, again, are going to help with managing your fatigue levels, increasing your energy. So these are all great, ingredients to include when you're thinking about meal planning and prepping.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to work on the wet ingredients now. So we have our dry, or part of our dry. We have some carrots, zucchini, walnuts. For the wet, we're adding some more healthy fats. So we have half a cup of olive oil in this, and you can use a different type of oil if you want. We're going to use half a cup of maple syrup, which is going to add a little bit of sweetness. Again, it's not a lot for this entire bread that we're making. The carrots are going to add a little bit more sweetness to that. And then you're going to add 2 eggs. Now, I'm going to give you a substitution suggestion here. If you don't want to add eggs, you can make a flax egg. I actually didn't have eggs because I forgot the eggs. So if you made it at home and you want it a little bit fluffier, then add the eggs because it's going to give it a little bit more of that leavening. Otherwise, you can make your own sort of vegan egg, and this is called a flax egg. So it was actually kind of nice that I got to talk about this, but to make the equivalent of 1 egg, we would add 1 tablespoon of ground flax with 3 tablespoons of water, and you're going to get a really nice kind of egg substitute that works actually really well in some baked recipes like this, where I'm not super concerned about the leavening because I have some other leavening agents in it. So this is the equivalent to 2 eggs. And what we're going to do is I let this sit for like 5-10 minutes. That way it sort of absorbs some of the water and it gives it that sort of egg-like consistency. All right, so I'm going to add that and give that a quick mix, and that makes up pretty much all of our wet ingredients. And then I'm going to add some spices. So this is a spiced walnuts, carrot, zucchini cake. So I'm going to go in with a nice amount of ground ginger, good teaspoon or so. It's just going to add a really, really nice bit of flavor, and then some cinnamon. And this is actually cinnamon and a little bit of clove, which I had, but whatever nice, spices you like to use. Cardamom would work really well in here. Nutmeg would work really well. And we'll give that a quick little mix. And then our dry quickly. So we have about 2 cups of flour with a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda. The flour, completely up to you. This is like a whole wheat. Definitely go for whole wheat if you better tolerate all-purpose. You can definitely use all-purpose with this. You can even make this like a cornbread if you wanted different type and just use like a cornmeal. That would be awesome as well. So just kind of half combining it, and when most of that flour is mixed in, I'm actually going to abandon the whisk because everything's getting stuck in it. And I'm going to stir in my zucchini, carrots, walnuts, all of it. And it's going to look like a lot, but that's okay. We're going to stir that into that batter, and it's just going to give this like really nice colorful bread or muffin, whatever you're making. And again, that water that's naturally in the zucchini and then the carrots is just going to add a little bit of that extra moisture so it does not dry out on you. Okay, and I don't want to overmix it just until combined. And that's it. So that is our batter. That is going to go into muffin tin, baking loaf, whatever you want. I have like a little flat pie pan, so this is going to take a little bit quicker to cook. And little cheat is line it with a little bit of parchment paper. And if you wet the parchment paper ahead of time and just kind of crunch it up, it will sort of stick into the corners a little bit easier. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put everything on top. And again, this is, a nice recipe where you're prepping yourself with multiple servings. So if I was doing muffins, if I want to cut this up into like little squares after, this would also freeze really, really well. Okay, so just kind of flatten it best you can. That goes into the oven, 350 degrees for about 50 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes. Check it with a toothpick. Once it is comes out clean, you know it's done. And we have it here. Boom. And as you can see, we're looking at that camera, I guess. As you can see, with the parchment, it comes out like super easy, right? So one less to clean after as well, which is great. And then we have, and again, this is, because we did the flax egg, it's a little bit on the thinner side, but I put it in a pie pan, which I actually don't mind. I like it like that. And we can cut it off into like these beautiful little, squares, bites.
Yeah, and those are things that you could freeze. So I definitely suggest cutting it up, whether it's in a loaf, pie, or even muffins. Like, put it in a freezer bag and just have it on hand. And again, this could be something that's part of a meal. So, you could include maybe a glass of milk and soy milk and then some fruit on the side. And then you're checking off, you're getting your fiber and your protein and your healthy fats. And, so it just depends on like what you're eating and consuming throughout your day. But this is a great, great option to have as a snack or as part of the meal. And again, kind of that coming back to the caregiver, right? And making sure that you're caring for yourself, using batch cooking, freezing your food and snacking throughout the day so that you have the energy to care for the person that you love.
Yes, and we have a quick question on the YouTube chat. So instead of zucchini, can I use anything else? Would love to try this at home. So, and you said you only have carrots. You can definitely just use carrots. So it's 3 cups of grated veg would go into this. I did 2 cups of zucchini, 1 cup of carrot. You can definitely go 3 cups of grated carrots in here. Any other root veg that has a little bit of sweetness to it would work really well. So parsnips would actually work really, really well in something like this. Beets, which we use, might sound strange, but beets would actually work really well in something like this because they have a really nice sweetness to them. Grate them up, add them in, but you can just do carrots or just do zucchini if you want. So hopefully that answers your question. And that's it. This is delicious. I had a bite. The veg in here keeps it really, really nice and sort of moist and sweet. So hopefully you try this at home. But that is the end of our class. That's the end of our 3 recipes. Thank you so much.